People want to be famous for a lot of reasons. Some people want to be respected, others want money or influence or love, some want to justify their narcissism, and people become famous for a lot of reasons too, most of which involve a huge amount of luck. And if you wanted to be famous yourself, you'll find that a lot of those situations can be deliberately created, if you look at it the right way. And in doing so, we can learn a lot about human nature. So that's what I want to talk about today. Some tricks and methods I found by which anyone, for whatever reason you may want, could become a celebrity. Now, let me say off the bat that this is not about how to be wealthy or successful or respected or rich or happy. Just how to be well known. And you'll see the difference later. And likewise, there's a lot more here than I can cover in just one video. So we'll start with some basic ones. Alright, first, one of the keys is to make a great emotional impact on everyone around you, which then makes people want to share or distribute you. If you don't want to create a car wreck, then in theory, you should be great at something, but you don't actually have to be. You could actually use something we've talked about here called the context effect. Like we said earlier, the most basic aspect of what gives someone star power is some type of outstanding ability. But, like we also said, the only way we can measure ability is by comparing it to other things. So, if you can't be better than average, you could actually get the same result if you show up where the average is worse than normal.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
This means showing your ability in a situation where people have low expectations. This happens a lot with viral singers, when they show up in environments or look in a way that wouldn't cause you to think they were a great performer.
Ain't nothing for free.
And likewise, one of the things that made Kimbo Slice become such a huge star was that he beat up guys who actually weren't that great as fighters. In most cases, once these people end up in a context where they're surrounded by other talented people, or when we expect someone to be great, they don't stand out anymore. But even then, oddly enough, our actual interest in them stays longer. I think it's because to our brain, standing out once is the demonstration of potential leadership that keeps us wanting to support or be around that person. And likewise, in general, most of us don't know enough to even recognize what a great performer looks like in most areas. We can only pick up on how superior they seem to others in that area, and other general things. So, besides focusing on lowering the expectations when you're seen, it also helps to show your ability in ways that average people can recognize. One example in chess are blindfold games, where grandmasters show their ability to play games purely from memory. Most chess grandmasters can do this easily, but it's a proven way to draw public interest, because most people can understand that it's way harder to do things when you can't see, and similar things can be done in other areas. Another way to quickly get known is to attach yourself to someone who already is known. Get them to be your friend, work with you, promote you, or something similar. But of course, these types of people are usually surrounded by people who want those things from them. But I actually found a neat way to get around that. We might call it giving to the giver. People instinctively want to help people who help them, and most people who hang on to powerful people don't actually help them. So if you recognize what things are like for people in that situation, you can stand out pretty easily, and if you want, make them want to do something for you. First, to do this properly, you have to make sure that the person in question knows what you are doing for them. Handing out flyers on the street means nothing if they don't see you doing it. So, while you don't have to be a relative or best friend, you have to find a natural way to interact with them. Be that an interview, online event they host, or something similar. Secondly, the thing you give or do must be of real value to them.
A cool G-Rap puzzle.
Ooh, let me see this.
Open this up.
Empty compliments don't get the job done. People hear them all the time, and you'll just end up as another butt kisser or yes man. Likewise, if someone has money, then handing them more money or comping them hotel rooms or other material things will feel like nothing to them. Instead, you've got to look at things that a person won't normally have. This often means respect that they don't normally get, or other good feelings that they aren't normally used to.
LeBron, you've been a clutch player basically your whole career.
What's your name? Appreciate you. It's not many like you, I tell you.
This works because we have a natural instinct that pushes us to do things for people who genuinely do things for us. because cooperating makes all of our lives better.
Kimbo gave you a lot of respect, man. We talked about it last time.
Well, Kimbo is the man in his own right.
And while we often don't want to ask for anything back because it makes us look selfish, that natural instinct will make someone actually do something for us anyway, so that people who help us do get a real benefit in the end. This is where we get those moments where we insist on giving someone an extra tip or present, even though they say over and over that it's not necessary. And likewise, this is why we say thank you for small favors.
That's a big thing with me. Like, I'll do anything as long as somebody says, hey, thanks. Like, gratitude's a big part of my life.
It shows someone else that you know they did something for you, and thus that you're more likely to do something for them in the future, though we might not realize it on the surface. So this stuff will work for pretty much anyone you can get close to, even people who look like they have the most in life. Because despite what we often think, there really is no such thing as a person who has everything. Like we've said, our brains make us numb to whatever we have, and only give us new happiness if things get better in some way.
Should we film there may be something boring though. Your life is not boring, you're Darius Miles.
So, even people who seemingly have all the money, love, fans, or compliments in the world will end up only feeling happiness if they get a new thing they could not have gotten before, or receive a compliment or level of care that is different or above what they're used to. And that can actually be so hard for them that they'll react more strongly than you might expect. So if you're looking for a repost or a like or cameo or to get on stage or anything else with someone who can help your career, this is one of the surest ways to do it. But these couple tricks we've talked about still leave plenty of questions up in the air. And that leads us to some deeper things and some other, possibly more interesting tricks, which we'll go into in part 2, and which will be up soon. Thanks.